Hey everybody, thanks for joining me here at Bitcoin and Crypto News. Today is January 9th, 2020, and today we're going to take a look at some of the top news stories in the wild world of crypto, as well as take a look at some of the price action from the past 24 hours. If you like the video, please hit the thumbs up, that really helps the channel grow, and also subscribe for more videos. Looking at the price action, we have Bitcoin down 2.7% for the day, trading at $40,401. We have Ethereum down 1.2%, trading at $1,216. XRP is up 1.1%, trading at 32 cents. Litecoin is down 4.1%, trading at $169. Cardano is continuing its awesome week, up 5.5% today, for a total of 82.6% for the last 7 days, up to 32 cents. CoinCash, the biggest gainer in the top 10, up 13.7% for the day, trading at $503. We have Polkadot, basically trading even, up 0.1%, trading at $9.31. Stellar is basically even as well, down 0.2%, trading at 30 cents. And we have Chainlink up 5.6% for the day, trading at $16.60. Alright, so that's a look at the top 10. Let's see who's the top performer so far. Bitcoin Satoshi Vision is the highest gainer for the day, up 69.3%, trading at $293. We also have Maker up 43%, trading at $1,521, as well as a couple other cryptocurrencies up anywhere from 20 to 30%. So all in all, in a day where Bitcoin's basically trading sideways and even going down a little bit, as for right now, the altcoin market seems to be responding well. So that's enough of the price action. Let's get into the first story. Our first story leads us to Morgan Stanley, who now owns over 790,000 shares of MicroStrategy, bringing its total ownership in the company to over 10.9%. Given that MicroStrategy shares are largely tracking the price of Bitcoin, which is up more than 40% just in 2021, following an over 3,000 gain in 2020, it is likely that Morgan Stanley views this investment as a way to benefit from Bitcoin's historic run without actually being a holder of Bitcoin. And the chart on the screen shows MicroStrategy's stock performance since last year, and if you notice, there was a major uptick right before October when the price of Bitcoin began to go up. This is something that many companies may use as a way to invest in Bitcoin until the ETF is approved. VanEck recently filed a new application for a Bitcoin ETF, but it is still up in the air as to whether it will be approved or not. Although Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market has just surpassed $1 trillion in market cap, it is still very early and very small in the global financial market, so it may take more time for an ETF to be passed. But there definitely does seem to be more institutional interest this time around than when VanEck submitted their first two applications back in 2017. But with a new administration set to take office later this month in the US, we will have to wait and see how they feel towards Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. But Bitcoin does seem well on its way to go from an undesirable asset to undeniable. But like I said, we are still incredibly early in the crypto space. Just to show how early we are, here's a clip from an episode of Jeopardy that aired last night, which was also longtime host Alex Trebek's final show.
Little things 1,000.
As Satoshi is the smallest unit in this currency system. Cliff.
What is the Japanese?
Nope. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin.
So right there shows the fact that many regular people still do not know what a Satoshi is, and they're still far away from understanding Bitcoin and its capabilities. Our next story takes us to an interview that took place on CNBC with Wall Street investor and hedge fund manager Bill Miller. Miller has been a longtime supporter of Bitcoin and was once again talking about it on CNBC. Something that he said during the interview about Bitcoin is that one of the things that's interesting about Bitcoin is that it gets less risky the higher it goes, which is the opposite of what happens with most stocks. Miller was a very early investor in Amazon when many were still skeptical of the company and how the stock would perform. But looking back at that investment, the people that were skeptical of Amazon couldn't have been more wrong. During the interview, he also spoke about Bitcoin's volatility, especially coming off the heels of how 2020 ended and how 2021 has started, with the price breaking all-time highs and rising above $40,000. Miller said, "You have to expect that it's going to be very, very volatile. If you can't take the volatility, you probably shouldn't own it. But its volatility is the price you pay for its performance." In which he pointed out that Bitcoin rallied more than 300% in 2020 and is already up over 40% just this year alone. Miller also echoed the sentiment that supply and demand is the main driving force behind Bitcoin's current uptrend. Miller points out that PayPal and Square, just two companies, are buying more than the 900 Bitcoins that are mined each day, which doesn't even factor in all of the coins that Grayscale continues to buy, as well as the other investors that are in the space. Near the end of the interview, Miller was asked if he's still as optimistic about Bitcoin as he was when he was on a few months prior when the price was trading around $15,000. Here's a clip from that video.
Interview, and this was when Bitcoin was just under $15,000, I think. I said to you, of all of the things we've discussed, what are you most excited about? Or is there an emerging technology that you're excited about? And you said, I'm most excited about Bitcoin. Are you as excited today, Bill, with it at 41,000 as you were when it was under 15?
Oh, absolutely. One of the things that's interesting about Bitcoin is that it gets less risky the higher it goes. So that's the opposite of what happens with most stocks. But because Bitcoin is so early in the adoption cycle, and you can't, even though the OCC will allow all the big banks and investment banks to custody or to buy and sell Bitcoin, you can't do that at any of them. So they're permitted to, but they haven't done it yet because basically I think they're concerned. But every day, Bitcoin's a supply-demand story. There's 900 new Bitcoins created every day. It's estimated that PayPal and Square alone their customers are buying all of those. And Bitcoin's total supply is growing less than 2% a year. And it's obvious by the price that the demand is growing much, much faster than that. So as long as that obtains, Bitcoin is likely to go higher and perhaps considerably higher.
So despite the insane run-up of Bitcoin over the past few months, Miller still believes that the price will continue to rise, and he also said that he does not believe a 100% increase is not out of the question. He also commented on Warren Buffett's famous quote that Bitcoin is rat poison squared by saying that Bitcoin may in fact be rat poison, but for cash, which leads us into our next story. Miller mentioned that PayPal and Square alone seem to be buying more than the 900 coins that are issued every day, and that's not even factoring in the largest holder of Bitcoin, Grayscale. During a recent interview, Grayscale CEO said that they have recently seen an increase in pensions and endowments and other institutions aside from hedge funds who made up the majority of their volume have begun to reach out and purchase Bitcoin through them. Grayscale currently holds nearly 3% of all Bitcoin, which continues to only drive up how scarce the asset is since they're a long-time holder. As Bitcoin is getting more and more scarce, US dollars are about to flood the system as the new administration looks to pass a $3 trillion stimulus package once they officially take office on January 20th. President-elect Joe Biden has said that it is one of his top priorities in the first 100 days. The last time that stimulus checks were sent out to the American public, Coinbase saw a spike in purchases for $1,200, which was the exact amount that was issued. With even more printing on the way, many people will continue to look for a way to turn their devaluing dollars into something that holds its value and may actually appreciate. If you would have purchased Bitcoin with the $1,200 stimulus check that was sent to you, it would be up 512%, worth $7,343. Not too bad of a return on investment in less than 12 months, huh? So with all the money printing that's currently going on within the US, many people will continue to store their wealth in the stock market and other commodities, which the government has essentially said they would continue to support and keep the prices inflated. So if this bill is passed, I would expect to see another rise in Bitcoin as well as commodities. But at some point, the money printing has to stop. It'll be interesting to see if and when the US government will let things start to come down and stop propping up the stock market, which may be bad news for people who are overexposed in stocks and assets being held up by the government, but they can't keep supporting the system forever. Sticking with the US government, there are reports that once President-elect Biden is in office, he will ask Congress to cancel $10,000 in student loan debt for all borrowers, which if passed may be a double whammy for Bitcoin, but in a good way. That money has to come from somewhere, so more printing will be sure to follow. Plus, the people that are most impacted by student loan debt are individuals under the age of 35, which is already a group that is interested deeply in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So that leads me to believe that people will be looking for a safe place to put their money to fight off the even more money printing, and the people who may have just had their student loan debt cut by $10,000 may be freed up to invest into Bitcoin. The chart on the screen shows the climb of student loan debt from 2006 to when it was around $500 billion, until today where it sits at an almost unmanageable amount of over $1.5 trillion. There have been many calls over the recent months for some type of forgiveness program for student loans, and was a major part of Joe Biden's campaign. Some politicians have even floated the idea of forgiving as high as $50,000 or even all of it. As a person who's currently paying off my student loans, I like the allure of having $10,000 wiped off the top, but as someone who understands monetary policy and sees the value in scarce things like Bitcoin, I know there's no free lunch in the world, and that money has to come from somewhere. There are also many issues with just forgiving student loans, like for those people who have already paid off their debts, would they be entitled to the $10,000, or are they punished for having paid off their loan already? This topic seems like it will be on the forefront of the political stage in America for the foreseeable future, so definitely a topic we need to keep track of. Our next story comes from HSBC, who announced that they will no longer accept transfers from Bitcoin exchanges. Traders looking to deposit their money from an exchange back into their bank account will no longer be able to do so. This is a decision that many banks may try and follow, but will only help speed up their demise, as they try to resist the future and limit their customers to cryptocurrency exposure. Not that HSBC is the first bank to do this, or that they will be the last, but let's take a look and just see how good of a company HSBC is. Since 2000, they have paid $6.5 billion in fines, with $5.4 billion of that being directly for financial offenses spread out over 32 separate offenses, many of which stem from unsafe and unsound practices when trading on FX exchanges, as well as money laundering. It is funny that a company as shady as HSBC, with a history of consistently violating the law and being fined for over $6.5 billion, would deem cryptocurrency as not something that they should offer their customers. That is all the news I have for you today. Thanks again for joining me today. If you liked the video and found the information helpful, please hit the like button. That really helps the channel grow and get the video out to more people. Also, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think if the US government sent out another stimulus package or forgave student loans, would that cause the price of Bitcoin to go up? Thanks again for joining me. The links to all the articles will be in the description like usual. And remember, buy the dips, stack sats, and chill.